Perth Glory Women slip as finals hopes fade to black. Socceroos preparations continue as Australia hits 5 against Curacao and World Cup qualifying heats up. Welcome to the Far Post Perth, powered by ID Athletic. Download the latest football catalogue, idathletic.com. And as always, big thanks to our great friends at Trio Homes. If you're looking to build, redesign or renovate, visit triohomes.com.au. Blaine Treadgold is my name. Great to have you with us, going around the table as always. To my left, fresh from therapy, Mr. Neil Sherwin. How's things, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You okay?
Yep.
Okay. I was just going to check. It's always good that we check in after.
Mixed feelings. We'll get to that.
Okay, no worries. That's all. That hyena laugh that you can hear in the background is none other than James Renton. Welcome back.
Thanks, Blaine.
Yeah, plenty to get through, boys. As, obviously, we come off a weekend where there was no men's A-League. We had women's A-League, but plenty to talk about as far as international. Socceroos in action tonight. We can touch a little bit on the Matildas. There's been plenty of commentary around crowds. There's so a little bit of a mixed bag as we get into it for the next 45 minutes to an hour. We'll see what we get through. Neil, kick us off with your good for the week.
Yeah, so international breaks are always a tough one. Saturday was awful. There was no place to myself. I was sat at home. There was no football on. No A-League, no Premier League. Awful. Anyway, good things. A few years ago at Macedonia Park, Melbourne City played against Perth Glory, and there was a young player who stood out and looked really, really handy. And this guy's got something about him, see where he goes. And that young guy grew up to be Jordy Bos.
Yeah.
And I think he is an absolute revelation for the Socceroos. He's scored in both the games in the international break, and in a team devoid of much to get excited about in terms of how they generally set up and play, being a Tony Popovic team. He's an excitement machine. He's playing for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. I think he's in double figures for goals and assists. He's playing with Raheem Sterling now, which is a bit wild. But he's just a really exciting outlet on the left-hand side. And at 23 years of age, he's one of the key members of that team because of the balance he brings, being naturally left-footed. And also the fact that he can score and create goals, because one of the issues Australia have is they don't have a top tier number 9 who's going to bang in goals, so they need goals to come from elsewhere. If you can get a left back, left wing back, left wing, or whatever he wants to be in that system, chipping in and either creating or scoring, you've got a real asset there. And Australia have done well with players on that part of the pitch over the years. You know, you got Chipperfield and Lazaridis, and
Kuhl started there.
Yeah, Kuhl, and so he could be the next one, not just for this World Cup, because as I said, he's 23, but the one afterwards he'd be 27, the one after that he'd be 31. He could have 3 or 4 World Cups in him, and I think that he's got to be one of the first names in the team sheet. He only came off the bench tonight, and within a few minutes had scored a really nice goal with his weaker foot. So yeah, I think he's a good and a massive find for Australia.
If you've just checked in on that score, of course, Australia 5, Curacao 1, goals to Awal Mobile, Alessandro Ciccati, Bos, as mentioned, and Iran Kunda chipped in off the bench with 2 late ones, albeit they were a little bit gifted due to some questionable goalkeeping, but is what it is. 5-1 to see the Socceroos farewell Australia last match before they do head to the World Cup. So yeah, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's been a really, really good find. I think it's one of those stories that's gone. The trajectory has been as we'd like to see for many players. I think for Jordy Bos.
Well, we often see players that go to Europe. You know, he went to Belgium first, and quite often they'll come back, tail between the legs, back to the A-League. He's growing, and if he continues on this trajectory, no disrespect to Feyenoord or the Eredivisie, but he might get a bigger move at his age and his profile. So
he's on track for it.
Yeah, it's good to have a player, first of all, who's playing week in, week out at a good level in Europe, which the Eredivisie is.
Yeah.
And now has potential, to do even more. So
I think that's a really underrated stepping stone, and we've seen it across the years. We don't see it too much these days, but that Belgium kind of Benelux, as they call it,
He'd only be improving his football IQ,
Yeah.
which would only make him a better player if, let's say, a club from the Bundesliga or the Premier League says, hey, we're interested in your services, because athletically he's got all the qualities that you'd want in a wide player or the modern fullback or wingback. So I think him being in Holland, I think it's like 7 or 8 assists that he has for Feyenoord. So, he's been outstanding, and while the Socceroos have been pretty grim to watch, he's been a very clear standout player.
I'm assuming that his heritage is Dutch.
Sure.
Do we know about that? Or let
Go on to
Dr.
Wikipedia
Google
and
over there.
ask
While we're doing that, keep us going, Renton.
So my good is our meeting with Stephen
He is
Peters.
of Dutch descent.
Okay,
there you go.
there we go.
Wikipedia confirms it.
There we go.
There is a source and
Tomato?
that I can archive. Or in the archive that I could, if you really want me to back it up. But no, Wikipedia wouldn't lie to us.
No,
Nice.
that's
We'll
not.
go with it.
Good stuff. Yeah, so we, as part of the FRG, we met with Stephen Peters.
Yes.
So that was, I felt, a good meeting for us. It was nice and productive, and I'm sure there would have been that maybe a little bit of trepidation, because obviously the players had that result against Brisbane, and we were hoping that we could have taken a positive step from, albeit it wasn't a loss against the Mariners and it was a draw, but we really needed to go there and get 3 points, and obviously the result was what it was, and being that 5-2 loss. So fair play to Stephen. I thought he fronted up really well. We spoke as a group for about an hour and a half. He felt that there's clear belief in the group, and that there have been some clear progressive signs. It's just probably in both boxes to really simplify things where we need to improve. But I think he's very clear on where the improvements need to come from, and he feels that we're very close. For as much as we might miss the finals either by goal difference or by 1 or 2 points, he feels that we're on the right track. And, if we can add those bits of quality to the jigsaw, then he's fairly confident that we can stack it up with the best, particularly with our home form being as good as it has been this season at Sam Kerr. We just obviously need to improve our away form, which, look, it has been a concern. 2 wins in 22 games. Yep. So, yeah, for as much as there have been positives, which he did touch on, he was also very quick to front up the negatives, which obviously, as I mentioned, they need to be improved on.
Have we heard this before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just with him,
No,
because last year it was similar, and it was like, we got a few pieces, it's finals or bust.
Yep.
Right, that was the mantra coming into the season, like, we got to make finals. And we also heard it under Apakis before that as well.
We did.
So, I mean, I'm not saying it's lip service, because it's right, they maybe are, but results just aren't there again.
No, they haven't been. And this team should have taken that next step this season. And I think,
absolutely,
people would have been wanting to have seen far more. And yes, players have had injuries, or they haven't been performing to the level that we would have hoped, or the consistent levels that we would have hoped. And Stephen he did mention that. He was fairly honest with his thoughts on where he felt that there were some players that probably didn't perform to the level that they could have. And it's about, trying to take that next step. And obviously you can say, well, any coach would say that, but I guess the proof will be in the pudding for next season, because he mentioned that he and Stan are aligned on where they feel the team needs to improve, and I guess we'll see that come next season.
I guess he can only tell you so much, but did you get the impression that he's got the backing of the board to take this team forward?
Yeah, I'd say so. He was, obviously very complimentary of Stan, and so that's going to be there, but the fact that the two of them are very aligned on where the team needs to improve. And he mentioned that Stan had come over to watch a few games with them, and he got to see things up close. And then he was able to make some determinations and alter some of his initial thoughts about where the team was at. And so it's like, okay, now I see where you are and what you need, and we'll make sure we rectify that heading into next season.
One question, and I'm not sure if it was raised, but as someone who does watch a fair bit of local football, NPLW and the likes, there's always been a little bit of a theory that to play A-League football, for the women, they need to be playing at a level higher than the NPLWA. Was that touched on at all?
It was because it's just, New South Wales, their NPL system, particularly for women's football, it's the best. I mean, you can look at, for example, the two best teams in the W League as we speak in Melbourne Victoria and Melbourne City.
Yeah.
They've got so many players from the NPL in New South Wales, and there's only so much that WA NPL can do at this moment in time. That's not to say that Stephen isn't looking for players. He is, and he did mention a few names, and that there are guys that he's keeping his eye on and will look to be signing over the next few years. But it's just And I'm pretty sure we've had this discussion on the podcast before about where women's football is at in specifically WA.
Yep.
But just by the nature of the beast, NPL in New South Wales, that is where it is at, and so by default they're going to get a bit more preference.
I just want to give the listeners a little bit of an insight into how difficult that is, though, for semi-professional footballers to uproot, move over east, try and get a house, try and get a job, try and keep yourself stable, as well as pursue a semi-professional. We've got to be honest about it. It is only semi-professional.
And then you've got
at
the
risk
of coming back potentially injured.
Well, whatever that might look like, but the initial uproot is terribly disruptive.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and hopefully, maybe with my idealistic cap on, hopefully we can get to a point where West Australian NPL for the men's and women's can be held on the same level as what it is over east, particularly New South Wales.
And I've had conversations with people that said, hold on a second, why don't we keep all these players here, and the old tide lifts all boats kind of mentality, and keep them in the WA league and raise the standard like that.
Yeah.
I don't have the answers, but
it'd be nice if we can get to a point where we have them, and instead of just going, okay, no, you can go to Victoria or you can go to New South Wales to play NPL rather than staying here in Perth.
Yep.
So he mentioned that, and then there was also the fact that when it comes to our preparation, in terms of A-League women's, that it does need work.
Yep.
We won't beat around the bush. You look at teams over east, they have it fairly easy, or you've got Adelaide who are prepared to fly over and play preseason games, or you've got Wellington who've obviously invested quite a fair bit in their team and their infrastructure. And so, something that we were raising as an FRG was like, well, it can't just be the guys that only get the attention, which has been the case this season, and there's been very clear investment into the A-League men's program, but that can't be at the expense of the A-League women's program.
No, correct.
So hopefully there can be some solutions that are brought forward in terms of what pre-season preparations look like and how we can try and find an edge to make a return to the finals.
Yep, very, very good. My good boys, I put a little bit over LinkedIn. I was emceeing the Women's League night series at Wanneroo on Sunday evening, also the amateur night series on Sunday evening, and just had a bit of time to reflect. A great little crowd down there, and I thought, you know what, that it feels like there's a little bit of a renewed interest somewhat in local football, and I'm not sure if that's coming at the expense of the A-League. It quite possibly is. Is it a cost of living that it's just nice and easy to stay a bit more local, and that's where we'll spend our time and energy? I'm not really sure, but it's great to see. I was down at Stirling and watched Stirling give Azuri a little bit of a lesson, but there was a great little crowd down there, and enthusiastic and everything else like that. We've seen it at Azuri a few games out of the season already. So, I don't know if I'm the only one who's noticed it, but it just seems like there's a little bit of energy, a bit of renewed focus in the local leagues, which I think can only be a positive. But I think it's good.
It's this time of year, everybody's gearing up for the seasons to start. Body's sore already and played a competitive game yet. But I think it is that we've had good weather for preseason games, albeit last weekend was a little bit messy for some parts of the city, with some pitches being closed and fixtures messed around and whatnot. But overall, like, there's the night series competitions have been good. They've been smooth by the sounds of it, because in previous years there's been challenges with getting host venues, for example, for the amateur competitions. And some games haven't been played. It turned into the day series, playing at 35 degrees at a plastic pitch out in Ellenbrook. But at least like Wanneroo, for example, stepping up and hosting a lot of games is great. They obviously have ambitions to get back to the state league, and I think that amateur Premier League is going to be fiercely competitive this year. You've got Emerald have merged with Naranda to get their junior set up in shape, having missed out on promotion a couple of times.
Taking out the night series,
and North Perth won the league last year. They won't go to play Saturday football. No. But they're going to keep the standard high in that division. There's other clubs with strong ambitions like Kelmscott and Kwinana who have the facilities and the setup to go state league. You've got Swan,
both very historical clubs as well.
Swan have dropped down, so there's only a couple of places that you could to play for to go up, and I think that top probably 5 or 6 in the amateur competition is well good enough to hold its own in Saturday football, as has been proven in previous years with teams that go up. They continue to go up or more than capable of playing, and I think that the fact that those grassroots clubs are adding strong junior programs. East Perth are another one who've gone up, we said, with the ladies. and they were a team that started in amateur football as a park team, and have worked their way up now to Saturdays and added loads to their club and have remained strong. So I think there is you have your traditional clubs, absolutely, that Perth and Stirling and Bayswater and all this, but you're also getting a bit of a new breed as well that are coming up and establishing themselves with facilities, with juniors, with pathways, and actually being quite successful, relatively successful. Whether they can take the next step and go NPL and win things it definitely is a step further, both ability wise and financially. I mean, you see the money being thrown around at some of the clubs, but I think that the standard is good at state league level, and that's filtering down. And I think the amateur Premier Division is extremely good. Having played in it the last, I've played in it the last 15 years nearly. It's really, really competitive. You get a lot of very good players in there that push it. And so to your point, I think there's people going out and supporting their local and buying into it and actually volunteering, putting their time into it. And because of that time they're putting in, that's why the standards are rising, because you're nothing without your volunteers. Yeah, no,
100% right. And a big shout out. So that was exactly my point in my LinkedIn post was, a lot of the stuff actually goes a little bit unnoticed when you're just down there as a punter, but as someone who works quite closely with both Football West and the clubs, and a big shout out to a couple of the guys who said they listen to the Far Post as well, so they're big fans as well.
The thing with that is that people don't realise that the leagues will start in this week or so, but the preparation for that starts as soon as the last ball is kicked.
Absolutely.
Last year. Yeah. Those committees have been working on kits, on training gear, on fees, on coaches, everything since September, October, all through Christmas, New Year. It's a thankless task at times,
it is.
But we're starting to see the benefits with better standards, and I think more options for kids as well, because one of the other criticisms that it's extremely expensive for junior football, and you felt like the only way to get there was to play an elite pathway and pay the associated fees. But there are other options for kids now as well, and we want to get as many as we can playing at various levels so that they don't go play other sports.
Not too right. Keep us rolling, mate.
Well, from that really nice high of things that are good to fucking Ireland.
Do we need to lay out the couch and put you on your back, mate?
No, I mean 2-0 up away to the Czech Republic, and then a stupid penalty, and then conceding from a stupid free kick in the last couple of minutes, and then to be leading on penalties and miss two. Just Ireland things, really get you the highs to the lows in a really quick period of time. So they're not going to the World Cup, which, that'll be, by the time the next one comes around, that'll be 28 years without a World Cup. But my bad is really, obviously, yes, I'm sitting here in my Australia jersey because I'm all aboard the, I've got two countries, so I was born here, so I technically probably should support Australia first. But my point is, World Cup is so much shitter when you don't have a country in it.
It is,
right?
Yeah.
And Australia went through, Ireland and Australia haven't been at the same World Cup.
Yeah.
Right? So I haven't had the two of them at the same.
These upstarts, mate, like Renton, don't know how good they've got it.
But that's it. The gap for Australia was, Ireland are going to head to 28 years now.
Yep.
That's embarrassing.
Australia was something similar. Well, that shows how mismanaged Ireland were from a golden generation. We just spoke about grassroots and money being put into clubs and trying to create that next generation. Ireland neglected it for the best part of 2 decades.
Yep.
And that's why they've been so bad, and that's why they've struggled to produce players. They've flipped it now. Brexit has helped massively because players don't go to the UK at 16. They can't go until they're a bit older. So those players are playing in the League of Ireland. They're getting experience at men's football, and hopefully it will help them. It has raised the standard of the League of Ireland over the last few years. More people are going out and watching their local, which didn't happen. The League of Ireland was a wasteland 5 or 10 years ago. So but you neglect, even for you drop the ball for a few years, and all of a sudden you're not qualifying for World Cups because Ireland are a small population, Australia relatively small football population. These countries can't afford to lose players to other codes, which happens in Ireland all the time, and the same in Australia. So if you have mismanagement and you have neglected the top level, this is what happens. So Ireland's last World Cup was 2002. I remember all three of them. 90 vaguely. 94 was the first major World Cup I remember sitting down and watching and knowing every player from every country. And then 2002. And since then, there's a whole generation of people younger than me that haven't experienced Ireland at a World Cup. Whereas here, there's a whole generation who haven't experienced Australia missing it. And to the point of some articles I've been out this week, possibly taking it for granted that Australia are just going to qualify.
Yeah.
You know, Australia are going to beat the World Cup. We don't need to go and watch the qualifiers. We don't need to go and farewell them. They just go to the World Cup, and then when the World Cup starts, I'll get on the bandwagon.
And as someone from that generation, that is sort of what it feels like.
Absolutely,
Like
it is. Yeah,
I've obviously never experienced us not making a World Cup. It's like, hey, we'll make it. It might take us a little bit longer to make it, but we'll somehow get there.
Yeah.
I can understand when it's like the inverse for something. Let's say for Ireland, where it's like it's ridiculous that it's even gone on that long.
But it's amazing how the stories are so similar.
Yeah.
They're so similar.
Yeah.
And the landscapes. I mean, you guys battle against the GAA and all that kind of thing, rugby, every other sport that's going there. We're very, very similar.
Yeah, it is, and it's a hard one because Ireland were so close, and it's frustrating because they just brought the feel good factor with what happened with Troy Parrott's goals, beating Portugal at home.
Yeah.
But people were actually back into the Ireland team. You know, we're back. We're supporting the team now. They're not an embarrassment anymore. There's a few players. Yes, they might not be world beaters, but they've got stories. You know, Troy Parrott. We spoke about Jordy Bos.
Yeah.
Troy Parrott is someone that left the Premier League and went to play in the Eredivisie and is banging in goals and playing absolutely brilliantly over there and scoring for fun, and it's really helped his development. And he's a success story and someone that we're proud of. But they just didn't make the World Cup, you know, and it's expanded World Cup, and now we're going to be sitting at home. And now we can turn around and go, well, shit, World Cup anyway. I didn't want to go to fuck Trump, and we didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to that shit tournament anyway.
Fuck it. Yeah.
But it would be just nice for me, naturally, to have Ireland and Australia at the same World Cup. But as it is, Socceroos all aboard until they're not going to knock out the group stage.
Yeah, go ahead, Renton.
There's an article that came out recently in Code Sports about the future of Western United and Canberra United.
Yep, saw that.
Not good.
Was that Marco Monteverde and
Aaron
Robbie?
Smith?
Oh, Aaron Smith.
Yep, she was in there as well.
Right. Yep.
So obviously there's no update as to whether Western United will be in the A-League next season because there was a 12-month temporary hold, and there doesn't seem to be any update in terms of whether they will. I think we can all agree it's pretty unlikely that they'll be in the A-League next season. But the concerning part was reading about Canberra. So they're obviously ran by Capital Football. There's been numerous suggestions that there will be a men's team at some point. We still don't know when that's going to happen. But it was mentioned in the article that they were only able to compete in the W League for the last 2 seasons because of a $200,000 lifeline from the ACT government. And the government has said they will not be providing that lifeline for this upcoming season. So it's pretty concerning about the future of a side like Canberra, which, you know, have won at least one championship that I can recall. They may have won one more, but it would be terrible if we lose them. We can't be losing more teams. We can't be seeing teams continue to be in financial strife, and that's something that I'd like to hope that the Steve Rosic at the APL and the FA, they can look to sort out, because when we talk about the need for Australian football to grow and be progressive, the last thing we need is to be seeing stories like this.
Yep. But the point we were just talking about grassroots and how much positivity there's going to be this season, you know, at local level. But the connection between local level and the national team, which was the other thing we talked about, is that A-League and women's and men's competitions, you know, that they have to be strong to be that pathway, to be seen as a stepping stone, because what we want is players to go from the local leagues to the A-League teams to Europe. Yeah. Right? We are always going to be a feeder competition. The A-League is always going to be that way. The key is to make money, as the teams have done in your sales, but also provide that connection where kids and fans can go and see those players before they head off and then follow their careers around Europe. You know, you see someone like Jordy Bos playing for Melbourne City for 2 seasons or whatever it might be, goes off to Europe and they follow that. And then all of a sudden he's playing for the national team. And you can say, you know, I saw him a couple of years ago. But because the clubs can be such a mess at times, people lose that connection to their A-League team, as we see here with Glory, and they miss out on those good stories. Right, look at someone like Diabru, for example, at Glory. Right, if you were a regular Glory fan, you would have gotten out and seen him in the flesh this year, coming into the team, imposing himself, and becoming a regular. Yeah,
and you would have been impressed.
In a year or two, he's now away with the underage teams. Yeah, there's a very good chance he is the next Pearman, next Benny off to Europe. And those guys, then you can follow their career paths, and then they come back around and they play. All of a sudden, they're playing for the Socceroos, and you go, "Yeah, I was there when he came through," or I remember he stood in front of the shed with us banging the drum.
Yep.
You know, like these are the connections that need to be fostered to get that buy-in to build those relationships.
But this is where I kind of look at things a little bit differently, and we look about this disconnect between particularly grassroots and the A-League. And people say, oh, well, why don't you get out to the A-League? And the retort is, well, my club doesn't play in the A-League. My club is South Melbourne. It's a Preston. It's a Missouri. It's a whoever it might be. I don't need to go and watch the A-League. And that's the attitude.
Yeah.
There's one simple way to get these people interested in the A-League.
Yeah.
And that is a club pathway for their club to get there.
Well, I was
simple as that.
Yeah, I was speaking with some reasonably well-known people in WA football today.
Oh, name them.
Mark Lee. shout out Mark Lee. But yeah, so we were talking about Glory. And, you know, obviously if you know Mark Lee, he's got a background in coaching and youth development.
Played for Glory,
Yeah, and played for Glory as well.
Yep.
And he was talking about, you know, there's for as much as there are the negativities about the club, which are obviously well documented, it's like there's so much potential that we could be doing, for example, by looking to bring through those next guys. And while it's quite simple, but it's like, could we have a greater presence in schools? Could we have a greater presence at our local clubs, as an example? I don't think we probably do that anywhere near enough.
We will have a conversation, I'm sure, at the end of the season, but there is no excuse for Perth Glory not being successful in the A-League/WA when they have no competition. Right? The only way you can fail is by being mismanaged.
Correct.
Right? That is the only way. You can't fail because you're losing out to your competition because you don't have any.
Yeah.
You're competing against yourself. Yeah. And unfortunately, Glory keep losing to themselves.
It's impressive.
Until that changes, it's been under, and there's serious questions about this, the current ownership, as far as I'm concerned now. We're 2.5 years nearly, or well over 2 years into the tenure, and nothing has changed. Nothing has improved. We are still having the same conversations we were having 2.5 years ago, just with different names.
Yep.
So there's no excuse for it. I think there has to be hard questions asked of the football department, of the ownership, of everybody concerned, if and when Glory finish in the bottom two in the men's and miss finals in the women's.
I just want to ask you a quick question. Obviously,
I wasn't looking for follow-up questions. No, that was just a statement.
We were talking about grassroots, and we were talking about the local leagues and that kind of thing. And I'm going to ask you, as someone who gets out to a lot more suburban grounds than what I do at that level, but is Perth Glory even on the radar for most of those people?
The lads I play with, they'd be a running joke at training.
Okay.
Yeah. See Glory was shit again the weekend. Like genuinely, there's some lads that go, and there's some lads that take their kids.
Sure.
Because they want them to get involved, and they'll take them if they can get. They'll take them to games they can get free tickets.
Yeah, okay.
It's that kind of thing. Like, I'm not going to get a membership. Fuck that. What a waste of money.
Yeah.
But if I can get a couple of free tickets, I'll take the kids, and we'll go watch a game of football.
Sure.
And that. But the younger lads, in their 20s, and Glory is just a running joke.
Yeah.
They genuinely are. But the thing is, if Glory, they're the sort of lads that would go and watch them if they were good, and if they weren't a joke. That's the problem. Like, they're in that bracket where they love to go have a beer. They love to go out on a Friday or Saturday night into Northbridge. They love that. Of course, they'd go and watch the football beforehand at 6:45 kickoff, and then head out afterwards, because they're football lads.
Yeah.
They play Sunday. They play Sunday league. They have their English team. They stay up and watch the games. They do watch Glory, but they watch it on TV and they have a laugh about it.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a case of
there's no buy-in.
There's none whatsoever. And there's no
connection.
There's no, like, if Glory lose, like, it doesn't spoil their weekend.
Yeah.
No chance.
Because that's something that I picked up across the weekend as well, is that you used to see the Glory shirts here and there. I don't think you see them too much anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Is the new ownership group had a fantastic opportunity to try and rebuild things and really show that they're serious about improving not just the club but WA football as a whole, and being the driving change and force behind it. But I don't know if this new ownership group is serious enough or ready to make those decisions.
Yeah. Interesting. My bad. I think that's where we're at. I've lost a little bit of track. More back to the Glory, and I guess we're obviously the girls' result across the weekend is the fact that we're essentially looking back at down the barrel of another season which has achieved absolutely nothing, was what I've written in my notes. So look, some big questions need to be asked. I hope they do get asked. What that looks like come season's end, I'm not really sure, but I do revert back to last year's MGP, which will be attending again this year. But we go back and I revert back to Anthony Radic's comments and Ross Peligra's comments that look, this year wasn't good enough. We won't be accepting anything like this again.
Cheap.
But this is what I'm saying is that we're looking down that we're looking down the barrel of another speech like that at the MGP.
That's all right. I'll be enjoying it from the front row. But anyway,
yeah. No, interesting. That's the bad for me.
But aren't we just, as I said, repeating the same?
Oh no, we are. We are.
Conversations.
But I mean, Anyway, keep going, boys. Quickly with your uglies.
My ugly will be the kit the Socceroos wore tonight.
Oh man,
I got to admit, I didn't know who was who.
Fuck gradient kits, right? It is a pet hate of mine. It's disgusting. That kit, all green, will be class.
Yeah,
an all green Socceroos away.
I like the one they wore the other night.
Yeah, it's the
gold
I've
green
seen
shorts and the white socks.
The shorts are gradient. Be very careful.
Are they?
Yeah, if you lift up the untucked shirt, gradient.
Shit.
Spot it. Don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Not getting that past me. The kit itself, it was all green. Smart. But on the broader picture, Nike kits, shit. Adidas have killed it for the World Cup. There's some absolute belters that they are rolling out. But I think, the home one, weird colour on it. Very weird colour. But the colours are proper Australia kit.
Yeah.
This away one with the gradient and this watermelon shite that it looks like. Awful. Not a fan of it. Disgrace.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all. Renton, ugly.
You might have seen, but in NPL Victoria, so the lower NPL, Brunswick City's head coach Nick Kyriopoulos was sent off for dissent in their 2-0 loss to the Bulleen Lions. It was for abuse towards a female linesman, and there was a video that was put out on social media, and it's fair to say it's pretty ugly scenes.
Yeah.
Referees cop enough abuse as it is, and it's no way to be talking to a female official. It's no way to be talking to anyone on the sport field, and I'd like to hope that that the competition are quite firm.
I feel it wasn't just the aggressive nature of what he was saying, but the way that he stepped towards her.
It was it was aggressive, confrontational,
intimidating type of
exactly. And it's if you've got kids that are watching, because we need our community clubs to be doing well and setting examples for what we want our juniors to be when they eventually come through.
Yeah.
And if you've got people that are acting like that, it just puts a really bad tint on the game, and I think that needs to be a lengthy suspension.
Yeah, no, I agree. Boys, ugly. This Senegal-Morocco AFCON, the gift that just keeps giving. We're off to the court of arbitration now, boys. So it's any thoughts on that? I just don't know. Look, are we going to go specifically by the rule of law and say, look, it should have been a forfeit, they left the field and that's the end of it? Is that where we're at, or
it should have happened at the time?
Great point.
Yeah.
Should have happened at the time.
Yeah.
They didn't agree with the decision of a decision, and they walked off the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, but just AFCON things, that competition is wild.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah,
it's probably mental.
Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. Nah,
but I do like them holding the trophy.
Well, they paraded it around against was it Peru the other night? And they've put the other star straight on their kits. They've got 2 stars there.
Yeah, I saw them. They had it with like the military presence as well. Or something. They're not giving that up easy.
No,
they're not giving it up. So I think it should have been resolved at the time. This retrospective stuff is nonsense.
It's crazy.
So
it's bizarre.
Yep. No, I thought that was very ugly. Anyway, that is the good, bad, and the ugly for another week. We'll take a quick break and we'll chat a bit more Socceroos, a bit more World Cup next.
Tired of the same old cookie-cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Welcome back to the Far Post Perth. Plenty to talk about, boys. A 5-1 win this evening for the Socceroos over Curacao. Of course, last week it was a 1-0 win for the Socceroos over Cameroon. Neil, pretty good window. Hasn't been great football, but I guess as far as results and as far as getting something out of it, maybe just finding some solutions to some questions that we may have had. How have you seen it all?
I think it's good and bad. Like, as I mentioned earlier, Bos, great to see. Irankunda scoring goals, brilliant. Chikati looks class. They gave some opportunities to players, but then on the flip side, they gave 12 minutes to Alex Robertson across 2 games.
He only came on tonight, didn't he?
12 minutes.
Yeah.
Across 2 games. A complete waste of a window, an opportunity for him.
Yep.
I mean, we're still giving Aidan O'Neill and Metcalf, and you know what they can do. Just
they're boring.
It's like, most of the team is boring. Jason Gary is playing, and it's like, and the other big one for me is, why is Matt Ryan playing 90 minutes in both games? Like, what is the benefit of that in 2 friendlies? You know, Matt Ryan is number 1. We get that. He's captain, but he's got over 100 caps. You're not going to learn anything about Matt Ryan. I think they should have played the other goalkeepers in the second game. And just have a look. Because if something happens, Matt Ryan, between now and then, maybe Popovic already knows who his second choice is, but you can't replace minutes on the pitch, right? That's what it's about.
Who are your 3 goalkeepers? You got
Izzo, Gauchi, and Matt Ryan.
And Matt Ryan. Are they locks?
I'd say so.
I'd say, yeah.
I'd be surprised if they
Beach
weren't.
is the other one.
Beach is the other one.
Yeah.
Beach was on the bench as well, sorry.
Beach
and Izzo and...
but they can make 11 substitutions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or take your goalkeeper off after 60 minutes or half time and give... You can make 11 subs. We weren't restricted here.
Yeah.
What about Ante Shuto? I was surprised that we didn't see...
We did not see him at all, did we?
First time ever in Australia and didn't even give him a minute.
It's the bizarre Popovic treatment where it's like, I'll have you in the camp and we'll make a bit of a fanfare about it. And then it's like, nope, you're not playing.
I just don't get... Like these friendlies are not that important. The reason I say that is because Popovic knows the system, he knows his players, he knows who he wants, right?
Yeah.
But if you have tunnel vision to 12 or 13 players, an injury or 2, a suspension in the group stage, who's the next cab off the rank for some of these positions? I think it was a wasted opportunity. Despite the two wins. I feel, it was a wasted opportunity to try some fresh faces or give Robertson... It was Robertson's first appearance in 3 years since he played under Graham Arnold. Right. You know, and you gave him 12 minutes. This is a guy who's been really good in England, dragged them the other side of the world. And I'm not saying anybody should be entitled to minutes, but if you're going to have a look at somebody, he's a player you want to have a look at. And at least give him 45 minutes in one of the games.
Because as you said before, we need to learn about the players that haven't really been given a go. And it's like, we already know what Metcalf and O'Neill are going to bring to the side.
Where does he play that, Shuto? Is he a striker?
Striker plays for Hibs.
Yeah.
But I think you could probably chuck him anywhere across the front line.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, surely you give him minutes over Mobile. Mobile's a known quantity.
Yeah.
You know, these are players that we've seen and they've been there. And they'll be good squad players. But if you're looking for something new and something potentially fresh and exciting, these are the games to do it in. And I get that he probably wants to win the games to go off on a high. I understand that, but it just feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity. The goalkeeper one is bizarre to me, playing Matt Ryan in 2 full games.
Have you liked the look of Denny Juric?
I thought his little assist for the first goal tonight was really clever, and the little flick from Mobile was great awareness. He had his back to Mobile, played as a number 9 to go out and receive a ball into the box, and instead of holding it up and maybe trying to turn or get a shot off, he was aware of Mabil's run behind him and he played a lovely little flick into the path and it was a great finish. So if you've got somebody who can do that and be a presence up there.
He's very, very similar to Tommy, doesn't he? He looks very, very similar player.
Yeah. So I didn't mind his contributions, but then again, that's somebody then who's been given an opportunity, right?
There you go.
And looked like he can contribute something, even if you don't see him for most of the group stage. You need a goal with 15 minutes to go. You know that there's a fairly physical.
You need someone to come on and be a bit of an arsehole.
But we know that now because we've seen him play minutes.
We don't know about Shuto. We don't really know what Robertson is like in this kind of system. There's other players that, obviously people are going to call back to Segicic, but, it's just how Papa operates, it seems.
Yeah. So it's hard because they won both games, So if they went to the World Cup and they were winning and grinding out results like they did in qualifying, everybody's going to be buzzing.
But we've learned all.
But yeah, and despite that flurry of goals towards the end, the Cameroon game and the first half tonight were very hard to watch.
Oh.
And I know that these headlines about like people are not falling in love with the Socceroos, and it's because they're fucking boring to watch. They are boring. They're not. There's no real excitement apart from something like Irankunda or Bos. There are little pockets of it, but I don't even also think that they're being harnessed enough as well.
So I just want to have a bit of a look here, guys, because we go through and we have a look at the stocks at the back, and we've seen Harrington, Chikati's a lock. I think you're probably looking at Burgess to be a lock. Does Sutar get up in time for the World Cup? Is he? I don't know if he does now.
I think you've got cover, and I think Popper's experimenting to the point where it's like, I wouldn't say he's a guarantee.
He's still got Deganek on the bench. You got Burgess there as well. So, look, I think Harrington's in on that. Does Kai Rolls go?
Maybe because he's left-footed.
Yep. No, interesting. Also tonight, Kai Truelman has used O'Neill, Metcalf, Bajic. That's another guy who we know is going to be a lock as Bajic. Do you try someone else there just to see, kind of thing? The other question is, have we found the key to that right wing back position? Is Italiano that?
Unless Neil, you disagree, I think he's probably a lock based on a pair of deduction.
I think so, based on the injury situation as well, that they're really kind of short on options.
Lewis is out now,
So who else could you potentially put?
Is Silvera injured? I believe he's injured. Is that right?
Silvera and Torre.
Jesus. Yeah, because if Papa wanted to be a little woke, he could have just chucked a winger there and, cause a bit of chaos, but, probably prefers a defender.
Yeah.
Because I thought Italiano was good against Cameroon.
I did too.
I thought he got busy.
And if I'm not wrong, he plays as a wing back for his club in, I want to say Belgium.
And he scored in Austria.
Austria, sorry.
Hat-trick last week. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any bolters, boys?
I hate that term. No.
Hate the term, but are there any?
No, because it's Popovic.
You don't think anyone comes out of anywhere?
No. Popovic.
I concur.
I concur.
I don't think.
I concur.
I don't think there is. Does Juric count
as a bolt? Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if he does because I think he's in the frame here. But I guess between now and is this what we're looking at?
I'd be stunned if we saw any surprises.
I don't think there'll be any surprise faces. We're not going to get a Bruno Fornaroli getting his passport the week before or anything like that. I don't.
We probably won't see any of the Newcastle boys get a gig either.
No, I don't think anyone who hasn't been used in the squad at this point is going to get a game.
No,
all right,
or get a squad unless there's a raft of injuries or something towards. But no,
interesting, boys. World Cup qualifiers elsewhere. And you guys might have a little bit more insight into some of these than I do. Of course, the one who we are watching as far as in Australia goes is Kosovo v Turkey. Renton and I were chatting before we turned on the mics, Neil, and said, look, it's probably looking like Turkey. Is that where you're leaning?
Yeah, I would say so. I would put them as the favourites.
Probably have to be.
Yeah.
Can Bosnia upset Italy?
Edin Dzeko.
Eden Dzeko, the beast.
Eden Dzeko, 40 years of age, scored in the last game, still scoring at club level. He's a guy that could really fuck him up. You know, he's still got something. And I think Bosnia will relish it because Italy still feel like a bit of a soft touch. Yeah. Plus the back of the mind of not having qualified for the previous two.
Yeah.
3 in a row. If Italy were to miss out on 3 in a row, that'd be really, really funny. First of all,
mate, I'm still pissed over 06. I'm all right with it.
Valid.
But no, I think Bosnia would be far more capable of causing an upset than Northern Ireland were, put it that way, in the game. And Italy got over the line, but it wasn't a rout or anything like that.
Czech v Denmark.
Fuck that game.
Renton, do you want to pick this one up?
Probably Denmark.
It will be Denmark.
Yeah.
At least we can't get them in that group again.
The Czechs weren't great. I think they got very lucky against Ireland in some respects to get that win, and they didn't look brilliant. Denmark had a resounding win and should be winning that, I would say. Plus, the Czechs played extra time as well, so more minutes in the legs. And the one thing that the Czechs did really well was, and these fine margins, they cancelled all the league games the week before the game because the Irish players play in England, so mostly. So they played in the League One, the Championship, Premier League, whatever, the weekend before. Whereas the Czech League, where a lot of their players come from, they scrapped that and they all went into camp with a new coach and had a week together, whereas Ireland had 2 training sessions. Yeah. So these small margins can sometimes.
Well, we've seen that
advantage.
from an Australian perspective before when we've played countries that all play in the same league and they've kind of
So they're giving themselves a leg up, but I do think Denmark will be too strong.
One game that I'm really looking forward to, and it's 2 countries that I quite like, is Sweden v Poland. This has just got tasty written all over it for me.
Yeah, I've got Sweden.
It's a bit like Eden Dzeko. 11
Lewandowski
will still chip in with something. Sweden is a really interesting one because they were gone a few months ago. Graham Potter's managing them.
Yeah, he's going to have to find what the boys gave everything in Swedish is if they end up losing.
Well, they were gone. There was a proper root and branch. Is that the right term?
Yeah.
Analysis, a breakdown of Swedish football, and they were in dire straits. I think they might have lost to Denmark or someone in one of the teams around them, and it was just chaos, and it looked like they were going to bomb out altogether. And they've just put together a run now, made it through to the playoffs, and they've got themselves in with a shout of getting to the World Cup, which was very, very unlikely. I think this will be a really close game, but yeah, to your point, it's a fascinating one.
Yep,
definitely.
As we look towards the intercontinental playoffs, I think most Australian football fans will have a little bit of an eye on this one. Iraq v Bolivia, boys.
Bit of Arnie magic.
Arnie magic. Yeah, bit of Iraqi DNA.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be
Inshallah.
Good. Be good for Arnie and Iraq. Obviously, it's been well documented that it's been pretty tough for Arnie. Obviously, when he was stuck in Iraq, was it right? He was stuck in Iraq and he couldn't get out or something. Is that right?
Dubai, I think he was. I think he lives in Dubai.
But either way, he encountered some difficulties, and there was the plea to FIFA about the game and everything. So, hopefully they can get up. I don't think, obviously, it won't be an easy game. So, yeah, but maybe they might just edge it out 1-0. But I probably anticipate Bolivia to come away with a win.
And I've got to admit, 2 countries I don't know too much about: DPR Congo and Jamaica. Any intel?
No, if you asked me about every player from the Jamaican team from France 98 World Cup, I could probably list them all. The reggae boys. Yeah,
that's
Robbie Earl and the lads. I could go
that Jason
way
Scotland, and that's why everyone in Glasgow was walking around with Jamaica kits with Scotland on the back.
They were prime my era, but at the moment, no. I'll have to look at the Jamaica squad because a lot of them.
Jemba was it?
No. So good they named him twice. He's Cameroonian and played for United and was shit for them.
Yeah, that's
Eric
right.
Jemba. Same era as Cleberson. He was another one that played for United. James wouldn't remember that probably.
Nah.
Bit before my time.
Right in my era.
There you go.
Jamaican national football team. Let's have a look and see who's playing for Jamaica at the moment that we might
Congo, I
recognise.
think, have a better squad.
Andre Blake. He's a very good goalkeeper for Philadelphia Union. He's been an MLS goalkeeper of the year, I'm pretty sure. Leon Bailey of Villa.
Yep.
Very good player.
Yep.
Isaac Hayden is there.
Congo have got Wan-Bissaka and Wissa and Tuanzebe.
Damari Gray. There's another name from
Throwback.
And who is that?
So based on this, boys, where are we leaning?
Congo.
Wow, Bailey Cadamarteri is playing for them. Bailey Cadamarteri's dad is a player I remember as the next big thing for England, Danny Cadamarteri, back in the mid-90s when he came through at Everton. It just never happened for him, but now his son is 20 playing for that makes me feel so old. Bailey Cadamarteri. There you go. With Wrexham.
I just thought Jason Scotland was Trinidad and Tobago, not Jamaica. Yeah, that's right.
Dwight York and Shaka Hislop.
That's right. That's the side that that's which one I was remembering a little bit more so. Boys, anything else on World Cup qualifiers? Anything else to chat about?
No, the only thing on the World Cup qualifiers is the fact that they're leaving it so late to play them is a big thing, right? If you are one of these teams that's in this playoffs, you really don't have long to get your shit together if you're going to follow your team.
Yeah, but we've been there before. Haven't we? Hold on.
Yeah.
We would have played in...
It would have been October.
November.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That's what I'm
window,
saying.
not March window.
Not the March
You're
window.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so these last gas qualifiers now, and it was the same in Europe. You qualified... This is the first time that they've had these playoffs late and so close to the tournament. So it's really not helping the average fan who wants to get flights and who wants to get match tickets. A lot of them would have been gobbled up already, or they would have had to take a punt on... I mean, who the fuck's taking a punt on Ireland to qualify in playoffs?
Of this bloody bollocks about tickets, it was oversubscribed, and all of a sudden they're releasing tickets again. What the hell's going on?
Just a bit of a trivial point. With the Socceroos beating Curacao tonight, they won the FIFA Series tournament.
Oh, get it.
So there was a
FIFA Series champions. You'll never sing that.
There was a trophy. There was a trophy.
Infantino Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all it is. I mean, let's be honest. It's just his little plaything.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's crap.
But I think it's poor. Like every team should have qualified by November.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm not
having the playoffs now are a joke.
Boys, let's take a quick break and we'll look ahead. Right after this, you're on the Far Post Perth podcast.
Tired of the same old cookie-cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Then final part out of the Far Post Perth. Boys, we've had a little bit of a chat about what's happening nationally, internationally. Let's get a little bit local. Across the weekend in the NPL, we saw Fremantle City with a 2-1 win over Armidale. Olympic Kingsway beat Perth Glory 4-2. Sorrento and Balcatta was postponed. Stirling beat Perth Azuri 3-1. Western Knights just keep rolling on. A good 4-2 win over Perth Red Star, and Dianella, who are also tracking very, very nicely, a 2-0 win over Bayswater, boys. So just
Bayswater.
A quick look. Yeah. A quick look at the table. Olympic on 13, Western Knights on 11, Stirling on 9, Dianella on 8. Down to Fremantle City, Perth Red Star, Bayswater, Perth Azuri, Perth Glory, And Sorrento down in the doldrums, yet to record a win. In fact, Sorrento is yet to record a win as well, but particularly Armidale and Balcatta, who I said last week I've got a little bit of concern about. They've got to really get something against that fixture, in that fixture against Sorrento.
Those bottom clubs could stay the bottom 3 or 4 for the year.
Yeah, I think
based on early showings.
And that's why one of them needs to try and get something against those others.
Well, Western Knights is a big...
And Dynella in fourth.
Western Knights had a massive win against Red Star.
It's still very, very tight. I mean, between, let's use Zuri for an example. A win puts them up to third on Thursday night. Depending on other results. So,
as you said, Dynella, like going up and making that leap from State League, where you can pay anybody whatever you want, and there's no points and anything like that, where you can it's a free for all, no visas, restrictions, or anything like that. To then having to go and fit the criteria, and being a new club, like as in haven't been there for a long time.
Good one on Thursday night. 3 fixtures on Thursday night, in fact, gents. So if you're looking for a little bit of Easter football, you can get out and you can see Bayswater host Fremantle City, Perth Red Star will host Stirling Macedonia, and Azuri against Dynella. So 2 games centrally, 1 up north if you want to get out to them. Renton, a bit of State League 1. Yep,
I will race through these. So Florida Athena beat Joondalup City 2-1. Inglewood drew 1-1 with Murdoch University. Gwelup had a 1-1 draw against UWA. And Coburn, they lost 3-2 to Mandurah. There was a few games that were postponed, and then there will also be some action on Thursday night. Inglewood against Floreat, Coburn against UWA, and Curtin against Gwelup Croatia.
Yeah, Inglewood Floreat's looking like a good one on Thursday night as well. Obviously, Floreat got their number in the night series final. But
Floreat, the team to beat.
I think they are. I think them and Mandurah.
Them and Mandurah.
Yeah, Mandurah had a very.
I'd love to see Mandurah back up. I think it's really important for the leagues to have a team down there.
Yeah.
Particularly at NPL level.
Rockingham were there for a while.
Rockingham,
for a while.
Down in State League 2 at the moment, who are tracking quite well. They might bump back up. Rockingham. So a little bit going on. Perth Glory Women are back in action this weekend. Renton against Melbourne Victory.
Yep.
Too little, too late.
Definitely.
Yeah, 9-goal difference. Even
Forget
if they
about
do win, they need Central Coast to lose.
Forget about it. It's done, it's dusted, and it's just, we've got to get through the season and then analyse why we were not there when we really should have and could have been there.
Yeah.
How many? When was their last finals appearance? Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What was that, 2014, 2015?
No, that would have been...
2016?
No, I want to say 2019 when they made the grand final. I don't think they made the finals
was it that?
after.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, against
so
Sydney.
what are we looking at, 7 years? Yeah, okay. I thought it was before that.
So, it's not just going to be an easy fix. And obviously, Stephen was mentioning that the team that he took over the previous season under Alex, they obviously had that great start and then went to shit when the new year came. So
it was just polar opposite. It was like someone switched the lights off.
Pretty much. So, pressure's on.
We haven't had either Glory team in final since before COVID. Is that right?
Yep.
Correct. It's grim.
That's how it is.
That's just the reality of this. Like the reality is, if you're in either the men's or women's competition, if you're not making finals when 50% of the league does, you have failed. It's that simple.
I said that
for me.
Yeah, I said that on the radio a few days ago, and I got a bit of a reaction. It's like, failure, and I was like, well,
Who, Gruber?
Yeah, Gruber. Yeah.
Did he?
He wasn't too happy.
Oh, right.
No, he wasn't too happy, but he was a bit surprised. But anyway.
Well, in competitions where you can't get relegated, your only measure is finals, right?
Yeah.
It's not staying up because you stay up anyway. So your only measure of success, your base level of success is not avoiding relegation because that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So what's the next one?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And it's another argument why we need relegation.
Yeah, but you also have to have standards for your club, and we'll go through it at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Got to be better.
Just to wrap things up, gents, a look at A-League men's round 23 kicks off on Thursday night. Geez, Thursday night's got a stack of football on, hasn't it?
Yeah.
MacArthur v Jets. Can MacArthur upset the apple cards?
No, Jets. They'll win.
Yeah, the Jets will win.
Jets will win?
I think so.
Does that give them...
They're on 43 points, having played 22.
Does that give them the title if Auckland doesn't win?
I don't know. Still
Must be
a few games to go.
Is there?
Yeah,
Must be close.
Newcastle
Yeah,
on 43
there's
points.
still 4
Auckland
games left.
39.
Three games to go. 4 games to go.
There's
Okay.
4 games left.
All right, so I might be a little bit premature with that.
Yep.
Thursday, also Brisbane v Sydney.
Sydney. PK effect.
So he's in straight away, is he?
Yeah.
Straight away, and he
Yeah,
threw, and he,
okay.
and he, and he, you know, he made
He threw
sure
some barbs. I saw
Oh,
a
he
couple
did.
of quotes. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go back and have a look
It's
at
been an interesting week in the coaching merry-go-round.
Oh, yeah.
It has.
with
But
Talay
interesting,
as well.
Talay's not
Yeah.
coming in this season. He's not going to.
And,
He's going to wait.
and
he's got
and
2
they
years.
announced it at 7 a.m. New South Wales time. Western Sydney Wanderers. That's when they announced Ufuk Talay.
So they
as-
get in early before.
get in early and then
Yeah, right.
shut off the comments. Don't touch the social media because the fans just went bang.
Is that right?
Yep,
I think
they
it's
If he wins them a title, they won't give a shit.
well, that's it. People say, "Oh, it's small time league and it's this," and you'd never see. There's been coaches in Europe that have managed rivals
Absolutely. it has
before.
been.
George Graham was the big one. I remember when he went to Spurs. He
Yeah.
wasn't successful there,
Yeah.
but he was Arsenal. Got fired because of
Yep.
bungs and bribes with agents.
Yep.
And then turned up at Spurs a few years later, you know, and
Yeah.
people didn't see the Premier League as small time because of that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's a tasty little narrative.
Oh, yeah, I think it is too. I think it's
and-
exactly what's needed.
Well, I mean, we might see some inappropriate banners like we did with Graham Arnold next season in Tifos.
You and your inappropriate
yeah, so
banners.
there may be
Yeah,
some.
you're
You're going to have to
onto it.
write a
maybe
top
some
5 list.
Yeah, there might be some retribution there, but I think there's no harm in it. Like let people get pissed off about it, and
Yeah.
let the Sydney FC fans welcome him back.
Mate, if we had been in somewhere like South America, it'd be on like Donkey Kong, let's
So,
be honest.
Yeah, I don't see the harm in it. And Kisnorbo is again another interesting one. His comments, about victory, like if victory hated me so much, why are they still ringing me now? And this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like, fuck it, put all your dirty laundry out there.
Yeah, yeah,
It's great.
yeah. Friday, Adelaide v Auckland. Good Friday. Will it be a good Friday for Adelaide or Auckland?
I reckon Adelaide are a smoky here.
I think it'll be a draw. De Vries is out
6 weeks, isn't it?
for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
He injured himself on
Big bloke.
international duty, so he's a massive loss. It's
New Zealand was pretty good in the
first win over a South American team ever.
Chile.
Beat Chile 5-1.
4-1, 5-1. Yeah, one of them.
4-1,
Yeah.
yeah. But he's a massive loss, and I think that there's another slip in Auckland between now and the end of the season. And I could be.
Are we writing it? Are we writing it in lights?
Oh, the Jets are going to win the title.
Jets are going to win the league.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
they
that
deserve to.
Adelaide will get a point.
Mariners v Perth Saturday afternoon.
Mariners.
Do I have plans on Saturday afternoon?
You do now.
I'm trying to think of some so I don't have to watch it.
2 o'clock.
Where am I?
2 o'clock.
Shit, no, I'm free. I'm going to have to watch it. No, I think I'll be optimistic and say a draw. Even though I think the Mariners, I mean, what'll happen is Nathaniel Blair will bag a hat-trick or something. That'll be like proper salt meat wounds.
Yeah.
No, I think my head says the Mariners will win 2-0, but my heart says it'll be a 1-1 draw.
I'm going with Griff. This is the start of a 4-game run.
Whatever he's drinking, give me some.
4-game run for what?
That's just whatever.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah.
For what?
No, I think Perth can get a win. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just a little bit of a bounce. I don't think they'll make finals.
Dead cat
but I think
bounce.
that, yeah.
I don't
they
think they can go to the Mariners and win.
I think they can. City v Wanderers.
Do you know what?
Draw.
Glory could lose and Wanderers could beat City.
And then Wanderers go, and then Perth go last.
Spoon season.
Spoon season.
We weren't going to give it up that easily.
Back to back.
To back.
3-peat.
To back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you are right. Phew.
It's a scenario I could see playing out because I think Melbourne City are no great shakes, but I'll tip a draw on that one.
And Melbourne victory v Wellington.
Victory.
Yeah. Tricky one, round 17 replay, City v Central Coast on Tuesday.
Draw. There's nothing about this City side that's exciting.
If I don't know what I'm doing on Saturday, I haven't thought about next Tuesday. Who's it again? Sydney and
City and Mariners. Down there at Amy Park.
I'll say the Mariners.
At Amy Park?
Yeah. Well, I don't rate City at all this season. I
Yeah.
think they're a soft touch.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Very, very soft
Well,
touch.
I asked the boys last week, Sherwin, when you weren't here, is the top 6 settled?
I think, isn't 6th? There's wiggle room.
Yeah, there is,
There
but is
is.
it settled?
Who's 6th at the moment?
MacArthur.
No, because I think if they lose to Auckland, it could open up something for somebody below them. Top 5 is locked in.
Central Coast is the next one that can make it.
Top 5 is locked, and I think that the Mariners...
You think Mariners getting over MacArthur?
I think it depends because they did get their ass kicked by Melbourne Victory pretty badly, Central Coast.
Yeah,
but
I think that might be the...
But they're also at home to Perth.
That's true, but I can't see them repeating that same form they had after we kicked their ass 3-0.
No,
I'd be surprised.
I think they can get in.
Fair enough.
Anyway, boys, we'll wrap things up. We'll shoot the shit another time. Big thank you to you, James Renton. Big thank you to you, Neil Sherwood. Big thank you to ID Athletic and Trio Homes. Don't forget to tell everyone about the Far Post Perth podcast, now available on Spotify, on Apple, and on YouTube Music. This is episode 21, and a few more to get through before the end of the season. Big thank you to everyone for listening. Enjoy your football. We'll see you next Tuesday.